Guys, and welcome back to another Axel 72 video, and in today's video I'm back with another interview and I'm here with Leyton Collymore. Leyton, how are we?
I'm not too bad. How's yourself?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you very much for coming on the channel.
No worries. Thanks for having us, mate. Pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Nice one. So am I right in saying you're a 26-year-old super middleweight who's 5-0?
Yeah, so I'm 26, yeah. Just turned this last month. Getting old now. I'm only joking. No, yeah. And obviously I fight, well, super middle and middle. Last one was at middle, but I've fought recently at super as well too. But yeah, obviously, ideally my bracket is middle, but
Okay.
I don't mind. I'll fight in both.
Alright, okay. Well, yes, if you're new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do indeed like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, the question which I always like to start off with, why did you start boxing?
One, it's been something that I've always been interested in boxing, and two, because it was a transition from a sport that I came from, and obviously I just always wanted to make that transition one day over to boxing. So it kind of just was one of them things. It was just, I got to a point when it was just like, here's the time to go for it and give it a chance, and then that's where I'm at now with boxing. But obviously, like I say, I've been competing for a long time from a young age, so it's just always been fighting sports that I've appreciated, and coming from a stand-up fighting style, and I like stand-up fighting. The next one would inevitably be boxing if I left. Obviously, I used to be a previous Thai boxer, so for me, boxing was the next one.
Great. And so now that you've obviously done boxing for a while and you've left the kind of Thai boxing side, would you say you now prefer boxing to Thai boxing, or is there still kind of no difference for you?
It depends. There's a lot of like pros and cons to either sport. Do you know what I mean? To say like one's harder than the other, or to say one's easier, like it's hard to define, because they both have things that make them hard, if you know what I mean, and things that make them easier. So I think in terms of it all, really, I think it's down to the individual, really, how much you was into either sport when you're transitioning. But neither one of them is harder than the other. They're both. It's a combat sport. Any combat sport's really hard to do. Do you know what I mean? And it takes a lot of time and dedication to do.
Definitely. And so, do you remember what happened if you had any amateur boxing fights? Do you remember what happened in your first one?
Yeah, so I had 4 amateur boxing fights. First one was it was a thing, because obviously, like, I've come from being in a pro background and then back to like an amateur game, which was a big like change again. Obviously, it was a different sport, but it's a big change again. So it took a little bit of adapting to. Luckily, I only had 4, and it wasn't over a long period of time, because I'd had a lot of previous experience. So it was just more about, you know, knocking the rust off and getting back into the ring and just getting back into that groove again. And then I had the 4th one, and then we decided just, you know, to go pro, and just, you know, it was just getting us back in there. I'd had a bit of time out and just decided I need to get back in.
Was
yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one.
Yeah, sorry. Was there any kind of like other factors that kind of made you want to turn pro when you did?
I think it's just more suited to my style. Like I say, coming from, from the Thai, what was it, 22 amateurs, and then I turned pro at 16 in that Thai, and then I was pro from the ages of 16 to 21 when I left, and I had 36 professional. I'd been a long time doing professional fighting, so the whole atmosphere, you know, the environment, the way of fighting and stuff, and that factor was just engraved in me now. So used to it. So when I went back to the amateur and did a couple of them, it was like I felt like I was going back, because I knew that I needed to do that to get to the next step. Do you know what I mean? But it was like going back to old times. You know what I mean? And obviously it was just in a different sport, but it had to be done. And you know, and now obviously then transitioning to pro, obviously I just felt like obviously 5-0 now, so it's been, I enjoy the pro game more. I think it's just what I'm so used to now. I think that's because it's so engraved in me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. And so for anybody who might not kind of know, what would you say are the main differences between Thai boxing and normal boxing?
First of all, we pulled the obvious out. Is boxing is just your hands, where Thai's your hands, elbows, knees, shins. There's a lot more areas to be getting hit with. Well, there's 8 points of it, technically speaking, but there's that factor. Thai as well is takes a lot of impact on your body. At the end of the day, you're getting whacked with, especially if you're on a pro level, but you're getting whacked with a bare shin across your leg and stuff. Takes its toll on your body a lot quicker. Do you know what I mean? So your career in that sport tends to be shorter because of so much impact and injuries. Obviously, it can be the same in boxing. It just depends on your style of fighting as well. I think, but then in terms of skill, like boxing skill levels are probably a lot higher because you've only got 2 points to hit someone with. So they already know what you're going to use. It's either going to be a right hand or a left hand. There's no other hand they're going to use. So then you've got to use everything else around you to get them shots off. So there's a lot more precise skill, if that makes sense, because it's like, well, I've got to only use these to get a point. I can't use my leg to get a point. I can't use my elbow to get a point or my knee. Whereas with Thai, you can use multiple factors. You can use them as your strength. If you're not really a good puncher, you could be a good kicker. If you're not a good kicker, you could be a good elbower. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of factors you can use to try and win fights and score and shine, kind of thing. Where with boxing, if you're not good with your hands, it doesn't matter how good your footwork is, you're not going to get them wins or them points. You know what I mean? You need to be using them hands at the same time. So there is challenges. There is a lot of different challenges and learning them. But no, it's good. I'm enjoying it. It's good. It's good. I like to learn. I love learning.
Great, and you are clearly good with your hands because you are 5-0 at the moment. And so, which fight out of the 5 professional ones that you've had would you say that you've performed your best in?
Good question. I don't know. Each one I try to change something. I try to improve by each one. Whether it's, not try to do big leaps and change massively, but just little steps, because as you say, little steps add up. And that's mainly my main goal, really. So obviously I'd like to say my last one was my best one because it'd be an improvement from the last 4 before it. Do you know what I mean? But it depends what I'm looking for. Do you know what I mean? Like there's some things that I did in my first one that were better than what I did in my last one, and it's just like, well, how come? Why is it? And we evaluate situations like that. But I would say that my last one, I felt like I was very in a I'd improved massively from my first. I felt like, and hopefully, like I say, and ones to come, it will just be constant, like keep improvement. Like keep stepping up the ladder, kind of thing. But yeah, it's hard to say which one was my best one because I don't really look and think that I did really great. I just look at it and think, well, what can I do better? That's just my mentality. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I like to make sure that I can do something better than look and appreciate all the good things. Obviously, we do sit there and we say, well, this was good and that was good. But it's always, what can I do more? What can I get better at? Because at this point, I'm all about improvement and making myself the round package kind of thing, basically.
That's fair. And so you are currently fighting with Black Flash Promotions. And so what is it like working with them?
So at the moment, obviously, I'm fighting on their show next, which is on the 3rd of December. Obviously, I have a good, relation with Pat Barrett and I know him quite well. So it's good to be fighting on his shows because they're nice, the good shows. Obviously, down as a free agent, though, so I do fight on all kinds of shows. I fight on Kevin Marie's, Gary Booth's, obviously Pat Barrett's, himself. Any of the shows at the moment, I think for me now it's just exposure, being on that platform to, showcase what I'm about and stuff. And also practicing the pro game. Because like I say, obviously, coming from a Thai game, all the scenarios and surroundings is not really a problem. Like being in front of a big crowd is not really a massive problem. Yes, it comes into a factor, but I've been in foreign countries, I've been in big crowds. Them things don't bother me now. It's more just perfecting that boxing skill in the ring. And there's no better place to do it than doing it in the ring. Like obviously, you can do it in sparring and you can do it in the gym. You can practice on pads all day long, but it's not the same. It's like game day of football, and you can do everything in the training ground, but once you're on that pitch, that's when it counts, kind of thing. So now it's just getting them, and then hopefully working towards the next goals and stuff, and then having a big year next year. That's the target, hopefully.
Great. And so you said that in your prior answers that you've been fighting for a long time. If it's not Thai, then normal boxing. And so, what would you say kind of keeps you motivated to keep on doing this fighting sport?
I think it's my love for it. I love fighting and stuff. Obviously, like before all the fighting, I did football. That was one of my things. My dad was a footballer, my granddad was a footballer. They were all big football fans and stuff, and footballers themselves. Obviously, I took to that side because obviously, as you as a kid, you do what your dad has done and thinking. But then, just got into fighting due to not doing football anymore, fitness, and just went to try some. And then the rest of this year, I just fell in love with just combat sports and stuff. So that's one of the big ones. It's a big passion of mine. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's been times when I fought and not earned a penny, but it's just because of the simple fact it's just a passion and what I enjoy. Do you know what I mean? It's what's what I am. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. If I didn't do that, I don't know what I'd do. And obviously, another big factor is we don't all lie. Some people don't like to say it, but financially, we want to make sure that we're financially fine for the rest of our life. And I know that in Thai boxing to be financially stable for the rest of your life, you've got to dedicate a lot of it to it, and that bracket's a very, very small bracket. Not saying it's any easier in boxing,
Yeah.
but there's a lot more in it than, as we all know, in boxing than there is in Thai, and that was another big factor for me. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life, and I want to be able to support everyone that I need to, whether it's family, my own family, or do you know what I mean, like, or friends. So there's got to be something that changes, and obviously, like, you know, I wanted to move into the sports. It was just about taking that right time to do it, and yeah, of course, my goal is to retire at the age of 36. I've got 10 more years left,
Right.
so I need to make some millions, don't I, some way or some form. But no, main factor is enjoyment. Do you know what I mean? And that's the main factor. If I don't earn a penny, it doesn't bother me. As long as I'm happy and I'm enjoying it, that's the main thing. But of course, we all like to take a bit of a payday as well.
Yes, definitely. That's fair enough. I respect your honesty as well. And so, going back to your upcoming fight for December 3rd, how's preparations been going for that?
Yeah, it's good. So obviously, I've currently changed gym where I train at. So I train out of Anthony Farnell's gym in Failsworth. Obviously, you know, previous champion as well himself. You know, very reputable. So I train there now alongside your fighters like Jimmy Kelly, Connor. Like, there's loads of lads there. Like, if I could name them all, they're all top amazing lads. You know what I mean? And he's obviously got lads that are there from different platforms as well that come and do all sorts of training there. So it's good to be training alongside them. It's been good. It's really been good, the preparation. Yeah, we've been drilling and practicing things, just perfecting my skill. Like, people say, you prepare each fight by watching each other fighters, and I'm like, no. What I do is I make myself the best version I can be, and then improve that. Do you know what I mean? Because like, if I'm prepared myself, doesn't matter what I'm throwing at me, then I'm ready for that. Do you know what I mean? So that's what we're doing at the moment now, is we're learning, get to know each other a lot more. Because I've known him for a long time anyway, because I knew him back when I used to do my Thai days, because he used to train along a gym alongside of him, Bates's. So I've known Arnie for quite a few years, but now obviously being a friend to someone and him being your coach is a different environment, so getting used to that kind of thing. And hopefully this fight will be like a big, it'll be like a big learning curve for us, because we'll learn them how each other work in the fight, in the corner, and how to attack things in training. So it's a lot of an eye opener, but a big learner at the same time. Yeah, but it's been going good, really good. It's going good.
Great. And so you spoke in prior answers about how you kind of have to be the person that's selling the tickets and stuff like that to be able to get your fans to come down. And so for anybody who may be watching this and hasn't seen you but might want to come watch you for December 3rd, what would you say makes you interesting as a fighter?
Oh, very good question. This is one of my hardest points to talk about myself. I struggle with. I think it's just because I'd say what would make people interested is because I'm quite unpredictable. I have a very weird style. I don't think I have like a set style where you could say it's very aggressive, it's very counter-attacking. I'm very mixed of everything. Right. It's like a cocktail. I've got a bit of everything in me. I'd probably say that was probably the best way to explain my actual fighting style. And also I like to give people entertainment, because at the end of the day, the fighting game is an entertainment. If I just go in there and just go and do a job, you're not going to want to watch me again. Do you know what I mean? So I do entertain, but obviously go and get the job done. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's a fighting sport. We're not just playing high five or chess or something. It's a fighting sport. But I think I bring an entertainment value, and not only that, but I have a great crowd. So a great crowd, and you like the environment of people shouting and getting all into the emotion of the fight. Definitely come and watch them, because you'll get joined straight into the crowd of everybody else that's there with us. Do you know what I mean? So I think, to answer that question, that's probably the best way I could answer it. I'm not the best at, like I say, speaking about myself, but I give it my best shot.
That's great. And so you are just kind of at the start point of your boxing career, and so how far do you believe you can go in the sport?
All the way. I don't see it like... the mentality I have is you train like you're at the top always. It doesn't matter whether you're having your first fight or your second fight. Your mentality is that you train that you're at the top, and that's what you believe you can be. And whatever happens after that is what happens after that. Do you know what I mean? As long as you keep that mentality and that mindset, no one can stop you. Do you know what I mean? And that's as simple as it is. So yeah, God willing, to be the unified champion. Do you know what I mean? That's my goal. Do you know what I mean? And then go from there on, do you know what I mean? Then whatever happens after that, it would be a legacy, do you know what I mean? And go from there. But yeah, 100% all the way to the top. That's what I want. I respect everyone else in the game. I'm one of them guys that's like, I don't care who's in it. No, I respect everyone, because everyone's in there doing it with the same passion and love and stuff, and they've got families and stuff. So big respect to everyone in the game, but that's just That's how I see things. It's just business and it's just working.
That's great. And so I'll leave it with this final question, which I always like to ask. You've got a little bit of a platform here. Would you like to shout anything out?
Yeah, just obviously a big shout out to all my sponsors. Without them guys, a lot of this journey wouldn't be as easy or as smooth, I would say. Also, a big shout out to like my family. You know, without them people, like I won't lie, my actual parents. As you know, my dad's my coach in the gym, as well as obviously I to the far now. So I have a big connection with him, but also him and my mum. Big on helping with, like, say for example at this level, ticket sales. Do you know what I mean? They help push my tickets out a lot, and they help taking them to and from things and stuff. So without them guys as well, a lot of the factor wouldn't be as easy, because obviously, you know, there's a lot of fighters know some people don't have that luxury of it, of having parents that are helpful of it. And I know it's not easy as well as doing training, so it helps me stay focused a lot more. So without them guys, you know, a lot of this wouldn't be as possible. And also, like, you know, friends as well, not just family, but friends as well. And people that buy the tickets as well, like that's a big factor. Obviously, coaches as well. You know, we can say coaches, without them we wouldn't be where we are. But you know, people that buy the tickets as well, it makes a difference, especially for light fighters. If you've got a mate that's a fighter and they're doing the first couple of pro fights up to, say, the first 10, that buying that ticket for £30 or £40, it's £30-40 for one night, but you can go and spend that on an Indian for one night between two people. Do you know what I mean? So support your boy, because that ticket can be the difference between them getting seen on a show or not, because they can't sell enough. And it's like, just support them. It's like an investment. Before you know it, they'll all be paid off in time. And it's a big thank you to everyone that has bought tickets in the past as well. So yeah, I'd say that them are the three things: sponsors, family and friends, and people that, you know, support regardless. Do you know what I mean? Whatever support you can do, help them out. It really is appreciated. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'd love to shout out all them people first.
That's great. Okay, and so thank you very much for doing this interview, mate.
No worries. Thanks for having me, mate. Really appreciate the time.
Yes, and maybe a little bit further along down the line when you're fighting for titles, we can come back and do a return interview.
100%. Whenever, just shout me whenever's best for you, and we'll go from there, mate. 100%.
Right. Great. Okay. Well, if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like the video, and thanks for watching.